yeah, and the king returned out of the banquet of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther. Let me repeat that again so you can catch it. So as the king was, moseying around the palace garden, you know how you, man, I gotta take a walk. So he's taking a walk around, right? But Haman was there pleading for his life, pleading for his life, asking Esther to please, please don't let me be killed, right? So it says, and Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther, the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king, right? So the king, as he was taking a walk, right, it says, then the king returned out of the palace garden unto the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered him in his face. And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubit high. You remember that gallows? Which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
I'll read this. This is Proverbs 11 and 8. Go with this sequence of events where it says, the righteous is delivered out of trouble and the wicked cometh in his stead. Haman's whole objective was to hang him on the gallows. Most High had the bench through like a little switcheroo, but now he's being hung on the gallows. Right? So he's taken out of death, and then his enemy is placed into death. So you could say that this was that one day was the worst day of his life. That cat went from thinking he was on the high road, right, to exaltation, and then all of a sudden, his heart changed to try to go against Mordecai, and then everything just spiraled out of events.
Right.
Right. Until he just taken out. You can imagine these cats, they had the banquet of wine, so he probably had a couple sips, right? Then he's like, babe, what do you want? To the half of the kingdom, right? And I always speculate if that's where Esau gets his, when a man and woman get divorced, it's like half, right? But usually you never want to see a man, anybody kind of like disrespect your woman, like touch her or do anything else. So he done came back walking through the halls and told certain folks about what just happened. He come back in the room and he see this guy on the bed with his wife. Like, yo, hell no. This guy just totally disrespect, man. Get him. Right? Yeah. And so you had other people already in the room. As soon as he said that, this guy trying to take my wife right in front of me. And he was like, man, sir, you ain't got to say that. Put the thing right over his head and took him out. Yeah.
The wise men is a rush. They already had told him, chill. This is your downfall. Man. They see him getting carried out like, I'm told him.
Yeah. All right, so we continue on. chapter 8.
Yep.
On that day, the king Ahasuerus gave the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Hagagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seems right before the king, and I be pleased in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Hagagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces. So since the letter was already written, it was already decreed that the Jews were going to get killed, you have to cancel it by issuing, another letter, right? So in the court of law, a law cancel out another law, right? Or a petition cancel out another petition. So it has to be in writing. You can just say, just do it by word of mouth. It has to have been written, right? So she petitioned that the letter be sent out to reverse what Haman was requesting to do to the Jews. All right, verse 6 now. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther, the queen, and Mordecai, the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring, for the writing which is written in the king's name, and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse. Then were the king's scribe called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants and the deputies and rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, in 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing, and according to their language. In Hebrew, right? And he wrote in the king's Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries. This was a postal service back then. Wherein the kings granted the Jews, Right now we do it by United Parcel Service, UPS, FedEx. All right. So wherein the kings granted the Jews which were in every city themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people in province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. The copy of the writing, that's it, right? Yeah. But now we're going to go back to the Apocrypha, chapter 16. All right, let's keep the pace. All right. The great king Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of 107 provinces from India unto Ethiopia, and unto all faithful subject greeting. So this is the letter that is sent to reverse what Haman had sent. Many, the more often they are honored with the great bounty of their gracious princes, the more proud they are waxen, and endeavor to hurt not our subjects only, but not being able to bear abundance, to take in hand to practice also against those that do them good. So that is pretty much saying here, these people, once they get in their hands into a little power, they don't know how to control it, right? And not only that, they seek to even lay hand to those that do good to them, and take not only thankfulness away from among men, but also lift it up with the glorious words of lewd persons that were never good. They think to escape the justice of God, that seeth all things and head of evil. Oftentimes also fair speech of those that are put in trust to manage their friends' affairs have caused many that are in authority to be partakers of innocent blood, and have enwrapped them in remediless calamities. Right? So these people with their even get innocent people wrapped up in their nonsense. Right? So beguiling with the falsehood and deceit of their lewd disposition the innocency and goodness of princes. Now ye may see this, as we have declared, not so much by ancient history, as ye may, if ye search what have been wickedly done of late through the pestilence behavior of them that are unworthily placed in authority. Right? Those who, if you review the story of those who have been put in authority and they're not worthy to have power, right? So a bunch of people, if we go back to history, we'll see that a lot of people who have been given power, they don't know how to manage it, right? They don't know how to handle it. So they abuse power, right? Instead of doing good with the money that they have, we have corruption, right? In the meantime, the people who supposedly they supposed to serve, right? They not behaving themselves as servants. They pretty much serve their pocket, right? And we must take care for the time to come, that our kingdom may be quiet and peaceable for all men. So they said pretty much right here, it said when our kingdom come, we're not gonna do like these people, right? But everybody will be quiet in their quarters, and everybody will be we will see that in order. It's saying we must take care for the time to come that our kingdom may be quiet and peaceable for all men. And as we look around all throughout the world, that's what's going on. Lack of resources, not because there's not because they are not because you have never, so they are unsatiated, they never satisfy with anything that they have. So the more they get, the more they want. The more they get, the more they want. Okay, it says both by changing our purposes and always judging things that are evident with more equal proceeding. So when we in our kingdom that we waiting to come, we're gonna reverse the way things are done, where everything will be judged accordingly, right? According to what is worth. So justice will be justice. For Ammon, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation. It says, he was called our father and was continually honored of all men as the next person, the king, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well of Mordecai, who saved our lives, and continually procured our good, and as also of blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom, with their whole nation. For by these means, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persian to the Macedonians. But we find that the Jew, whom this wicked wretch have delivered to order destruction for doers, but live by most just law. Pretty much like we see today, how we being portrayed everywhere on TV, right? We're being portrayed as the most dangerous people, right? Most dangerous people, and that's how we get killed by the cops, right? Right. They as soon as they see a black man, those are dangerous people. They so quick to pull out their gun and shoot us, right? Like we are very dangerous. That's how we being depicted in this kingdom. So it's not something that is happening back then. It's being done here, but in different ways, right? We are the most um, uh, um, the most the most we fill up the jail cell, right? Even somebody who was a CEO told me when they do the counts in there to show that they also have white, to keep the numbers balanced, they count some Hispanics as white in it. So to keep the numbers balanced, to see that it's not only black men and Hispanics, you have a lot of whites too in jail, but they count some Hispanics as so-called white in the numbers.
Look white.
They are. They are. They said they lied.
What kind of
So
stuff?
they could say it's just as many white people as yours as there's black people.
With the white.
They try to act like they was white. So they could say there's just as many black as there's white. But Puerto Ricans is not white.
All right. So, but we find that the Jews whom this wicked wretch have delivered to utter destruction are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. And that they and that they be children of the Most High and most highly living God. And we got, and even in today, we got tricked, like we got tricked into behaving like niggas, right? Because yeah, we got tricked into it, because if you act hard, yeah, you will. You know, if you do a bunch of stuff, you know, crazy stuff, you good. You represent, right? We represent. You know, when we get locked up, we do, you know, walk with our pants hanging down. We good. You're throwing the gangsta in. Yeah, that's what black's supposed to do. We represent. We got tricked into thinking that that's what we are. Verse 18. I'm sorry, 17. No, 16, right? 16. And that they be children of the Most High and most mightily and most mighty living power, who have ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner. Wherefore, ye shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent unto you by Ammon, the son of Abadatta. For he that was the worker of these things is hanged at the gate of Shusha with all his family. God, who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts. Therefore, ye shall publish the copy of this letter in all places, that the Jews may freely live after their own laws, and ye shall aid them, that even the same day, being 13th day of the 20th month Adar, they may be, 12th month, 13th day of the 12th month Adar, they may be avenged of them, who in the time of their affliction shall set upon them. For Almighty power have turned to joy unto them the day wherein the chosen people should have perished. Ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts, keep it in high day with all feasting, that both now and hereafter there may be safety to us in the well affected Persians, but to those which do conspire against us, a memorial of destruction. Therefore, every city and country whatsoever which shall not do according to these things shall be destroyed without mercy, with fire and sword, and shall be made not only unpassable for men, but also most hateful to wild beasts and fouls forever. Chapter 8. Same Apocrypha, chapter 8.
You need the Bible.
Oh, the Bible.
The Bible. The Bible. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all she wrote, bro.
Yeah, verse.
The Bible, 8 to 13, right? 8, chapter 8, verse 13.
Yeah, we're gonna go back.
Yep. Let's go back to the Bible now.
Going back to the Bible. Yes. Yeah, but he didn't go back there.
I heard him say something.
One more time.
All right, so in the Bible, chapter 8.
8:13.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So the posts that rode upon mules and camels went out, being hasted and pressed on by the king commandment. And the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city, wheresoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Everybody behave as Jews, right? Because the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Okay. Then we're gonna go to chapter 10 now, right? Keep reading all the way to chapter 10 and 3. Right? Okay, come. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandments and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in a day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power of them over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had ruled over them that hated them. So the table turned. So that day we were supposed to be killed. It got flipped. The Most High reversed it. Now we are in a good position. Verse 2. The Jews gathered themselves together in their city throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. And all the rules of the provinces, all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers of the kings helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. In Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. In Arshenatah, and Dathan, and Aspatha, and Proatha, and Adalia, and Aridatha, and Hormashta, and Ariziah, and Aridai, and Vajezita, the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Amadatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they. But on the spoil laid they not their hands. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace was brought before the king, and the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman, what have they done in the rest of the king's province? Now what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. Or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day, according to unto this day's decree, and let Haman 10 son be hanged upon the gallows. And the kings committed it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman the 10 sons. But the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey day, but on the prey they lay not their hand. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives and had rest for their enemy from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same day rest, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore, the Jews of the villages that dwell in the unveiled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feast. It said, therefore, the Jews of the village that dwell in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting and a good day, and of sending portions one to another. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the kings Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the day wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy. and of sending portions one to another and gift to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun. And Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Haggagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seeds and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year. So how come we're not taught that in Bible school, in the Christian church?
Oh no, they ain't doing none of that.
And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation. See that? And that, let me read it again. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seeds. Answer, Mark.
So the answer to that question is Jews, right? So you're not taught that in the churches, because in the churches you're not taught to be a Jew. So if it's not a part of your own custom, right? You're just a follower of Christ. You're not nationally known as a Jew. You wouldn't keep it. Right? So that's the excuse that most of the Christians say why they don't keep some of the holy days, because that was for the Jews, right? So if it's for the Jews, and then you come to understand that you're a Jew, then you have to fulfill what we're reading now. That every province, every generation, keep that as a memorial too.
Okay, well, good. Sorry about that. We covered that when y'all came in.
But it starts with nationalism of knowing who you are. That's why that's important.
Well, I don't know if you were that you a Jew, it's only for Jews. So in the state of mind of being Christians, then they could say that they
True. I was talking at the time.
Oh, okay.
No, we had a conversation earlier.
I didn't understand what you were saying.
May I? Well, what he just said, we was having a conversation earlier, you and him, that Mr. Catholic man right here don't want us to know this right here. You just read it. Every generation, every family, and all that right there, that's us. But in the churches here, with the Catholics is running from overseas to here, they want us to know that. That's why we're getting it right here.
Right. That's what Kahan Samaj said. Yeah. That's what Kahan Samaj said. The reason is because people in the Christian churches don't know that they are Jews. They don't think themselves as Jews. So they want
too many titles too over here.
Go on.
But let me just mention this too, as far as a Christian, because we're Jews, we're Hebrew Israelites, but we're also Christians, right? We're also followers of Christ, right? So I don't want to get it confused that if you're a Christian, then you can't be a Jew, right? Or if you're a Jew, you can't be a Christian.
How many titles we gonna have though?
Say again?
Okay, we Hebrews, right? We Jews.
The Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, Hebrews, and we Christians.
Yeah.
Okay. The conversation we had to stop the class about again. Your man, Mr. Caffrey, right here. Yeah, we are Jesus with Jesus Christ. That title goes into the church that where we supposed to be at, but fortunately we have to be Hebrew Israelites. Now the word Christian, we'll get to that later. Let's finish. Go ahead. Yeah. You see, they got too many titles for us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and him, we have.
Yeah, we'll deal with it afterwards.
All right, so let's move on. What verse we on now? 29?
Yeah, 29. Let's want to be 28 again.
No, I don't think we've been.
We got it.
That's 29.
All right. You got that, young fellow?
No, kind of wrong, bro. No, okay. Yes, it says to confirm these days of Purim.
Oh, yeah, 29.
Then Esther, the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm the second letter of Purim. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with word of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seeds the matters of the fasting and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters, and it was written in the book. Chapter 10. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the islands of the sea, and all the act of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the kings advanced him, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai, so don't look for that book. Right? The Chronicle of the kings of Media and Persia. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. All right, so let's go back to the Apocrypha now. Okay. Part of the 10th chapter, we're going to read. It says, then Mordecai said, God have done these things For I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof hath fell. So Mordecai has seen the dream, but the dream unfold right before him, and every little bit of it come to pass. So it's just like when the Mosai said he created the end from the beginning, everything's already recorded, pre-recorded. Everything's already pre-recorded. So that dream was already downloaded in Mordecai's dream. It's downloaded. It's like you have a movie. The movie ain't come out yet, but you got a preview, or you got somebody in the inside give you a copy, or a director that somebody you're friend with, and you have the hookup, and then you got it, and you see it first. That's pretty much us, right? The kingdom, the Most High give us some of aspect of it. The end time, how it's coming, right? So we have the front seat, right? So it's the same scenario here, as we see that Mordecai had seen that in his dream. It says a little fountain became a river, and there was light in the sun and much water. This river is Esther, right? This river is Esther, whom the kings married and made queen. So in verse 7, and the two dragons are I and Haman, and the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews. And my nation is this Israel, which cried to God and was saved. For the Lord have saved his people, and the Lord have delivered us from all those evils. And God have wrought signs and great wonders, which have not been done among the Gentiles. Therefore have he made two lots, one for the people of God and another for the Gentiles. And these two lots came at the hour and time and day of judgment before God among all nations. So God remember his people and justify his inheritance. Therefore, those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th and 15th day of the same month, with an assembly in joy and with gladness before God, according to the generation forever among his people. So we are living prophecy. On this day today, we celebrating this day. This is the Most High ordained that we should do that. And if we are here, we following the ordinance, right? Then we go to 11. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemaeus and Cleopatra Desetus, who said he was a priest and Levite, and Ptolemaeus his son brought this epistle of Purim, which they said was the same, and that Lysimachus, the son of Ptolemaeus, that was in Jerusalem, had interpreted it. In the 2nd year, 11, 1 and 2.
Right. 2:12.
All right. So this was lengthy, but we get the idea, right? Pretty much we all get the idea what the feast is about.
Get out right hand, man. Pretty much.
I know somebody else like that too, but I was like, you was good, like he said. No, he was good, so he said, but smart. He was saying, but it's still Jews. But believe God. He was saying.
All right. So some of the things that we should take away is know that the Most High for the Jews, regardless of what we're going through today, the Most High is working His plan. The plan is at work. Right? Don't think that what happened in the past is just a story. Still continue with the children of Israel today, right? Today, those out there, they are right. They don't know what they are. Our job, they lost. But at the same time, it's our job, it's our responsibility. At the same time, because what happened is, with that responsibility, when we have the word of the Most High, we have the power to influence those people who are lost out there, right? And we got to influence them on positively, right? So this is our job. It's not just us sitting here and we know who we are and we know, and then neglecting those that are out there. So which much
You have to encourage.
we have to encourage them, and we have not only that, we have to bring them. I mean, we have to teach them, and if the Most High's will for them to wake up and follow the same protocol, they follow it. Right. So responsibility that we have is just as important as to awaken those that are out there. So also another thing we should see that at certain time we are given choices to alter certain situations. So now when we find in a situation, what are we gonna do? What position we gonna take, right? Also courage, right? We see she had great courage, right, to take on the position, take on the steps that she took. And all the Most High requires obedience, right? Obedience.
Well, she was powerful, the lady you was talking about.
Right.
She was very powerful too.
But she married the king.
Yeah.
You know she was.
Yeah. That's what they said. She was very powerful. This brother right here.
Right.
I love what you read with the prophecy. He was Jews and Gentiles. And you
Elaborate more? Yeah, I said we was gonna just finish the service. And then,
We're gonna elaborate.
yeah, we can talk more.
Right. And one last thing that we should take away is the fact that the Most High used everything, everybody, everything, right, for His purpose, including Esau, including the other nation, including us, every single one of us, animals, trees, everything for His purpose. At any and without is, I mean, every minute or every second, every nanoseconds is already in the Most High's plan. Nothing escapes his realm. So let's read the scriptures and then we close out. Hebrews 2:8. Hebrews 2:8 reads, "Thou hast put all things in subjection under His feet. For in that He put all in subjection under Him." He left nothing that is not put under him. Nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things, but under put under him. But right now we don't see it. Right now we like, man, I wonder if the Most High see this. Right. I wonder if the Most High has part in this. Right. Any little thing you walk, the Most High is part of it. Everything we do, nothing is left that is not put under him. But we cannot see it fully right now. All right. With that, we're gonna say Shalom. For those who are watching on the live stream and brothers and sisters listening on the conference line. Ashar Purayum. And we're gonna do the closing prayer. Stay tuned. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ashira, Nathanawa, Faya Gapon Tuala Aman, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Af Yasha'al. English translation. Bless our Yahweh in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it, to Yahweh in the name of Yahushai with Israel. I might well upon you, you wash them, stand and face Jerusalem. Repeat the Hebrew only. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Awakushai,
Bahushai,
Shema,
Shema,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Aita,
Aita,
Yamyan,
Yamyan,
Aita,
Aita,
Shalat,
Shalak,
Micah Allah,
Micah Allah,
Walalahayim,
Walalahayim,
Tazawudagim,
Tazawudagim,
Shema Ayel,
Shema,
Borat,
Barak,
Wapa,
Rapah,
Magun,
Magun,
Barakaziyat,
Barakaziyat,
Bunya,
Banya,
Yasha Allah,
Yasha'ala,
Wasalat,
Wasalat,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Takama,
Takama,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
the Ike,
the Ike,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Bayana,
Bayana,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Sabalanwa,
Sabalanwa,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Amawan,
Amawan,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Aqua,
Aqua,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Ahabium,
Ahabiu,
Rabium,
Rabiu,
Agana,
Haganah,
Wakanaya,
Wakanai,
Wasalak,
Wasalat,
Ho,
Ko,
Katayimna,
Katayana,
La Akim,
La'akim,
Wayasha Allah,
Yasha'ala,
Damyad,
Damyad,
Bayulam,
Bayulam,
Ba'asham,
Ba'asham,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water,
Tawada,
Amen.
Aman,
English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Walk on this prayer. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'asham,
Ba'asham,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Barak Nawa,
Barak Nawa,
Wayasha Allah,
Yasha'ala,
Baki Sapayim,
Bakia Sapari,
Shemai.
Shemai.
Yasharallah.
Yasharallah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Allah and Allah. Yahweh. Echad. All right. English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, bless us in Israel, in the house of books. Hail Israel, Yahweh our power. Yahweh is one power. Prayer for the food. Yahweh, Agado, Ba'asham, Adawanya, Yahushai, Awakushai, Barak, Ma'akal, Yanawa, Shatai, Yafyanawa, Shataiwaf, Yanawa, Yayan, Yanawa, Lacham, Yanawa, Shakara, Yanawa, Zakat, Shah, Ayarak, no, Aparayim, Ba'asham, Yahushai, the water, Aman. All right. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Happy Purim, Purim. Brothers, circle up.